Tim, this is Eric.
Yeah. Hey, how are you, Eric?
I'm good, and you?
I'm great, thank you.
Are you still available for the interview?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Thank you so much for doing this. It's a huge honor.
Thank you so much for doing it with me.
So, Tim, it's really easy. Whenever you're ready, I know you're born ready, but whenever you're ready, I'm going to do a little intro presenting the radio show, and I'm going to introduce yourself. I pre-record the interview. I will hear the interview in 2 weeks on our Quebec radio show.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, you're right. I was born ready.
Damn right. Hell yeah, my friend, it's a huge honor to have you on our Quebec radio show, Prescription Punk Rock. Who the hell are you?
Who the hell am I? I'm Tim Brennan from the Dropkick Murphys, and it is a pleasure to be here.
Tim, welcome for the first time. It's cool to have you because there's so much to talk about. But first of all, there's a brand new record that's going to be released on April 29th. I had the chance to listen to it, and from the bottom of my heart, congratulations. I know you push yourself every time, but this record is special. We're in a weird moment in our life as a society with the pandemic, but it's the right album at the right time, I think. So congratulations. How you felt?
Thank you very much. We're so excited about it, and I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, it's, you know, when we, when we sort of made the decision that we were going to do a sort of very lighthearted, tempo, I guess, I don't know, I guess just, like I said, lighthearted record. We knew that was sort of, you know, we could have gone two ways with it. We could have made a record about how we were super bummed about what was happening. You know, we couldn't go on tour or anything like that. Or we could do the opposite, and we could make something very happy and upbeat, and something that people will enjoy once all of this is over.
Is it more easy now with the experience to do a record, or it's still something really hard for you guys?
Well, I'll tell you, it was much different than anything we had ever experienced before this time around, because, you know, we had gotten a few songs done in the winter of 2019, and we went on tour, and we were going to come home, do the St. Patrick's Day shows, and then go back to finishing the record, and unfortunately that's not how it happened. So when we did resume, we sort of had to one at a time it, and you know, Guy would show up, and James would show up and do his guitar, and then the next day I would show up and do my guitar and some accordion, and so we had never really done it like that before. Normally everybody's just there, you know, so it was a different experience, and it was kind of like we were working so hard to try to figure out how to get it done safely that we didn't even have time to consider if it was difficult or not. But that being said, I can say that the writing process has sort of gotten easier over the years, you know, but we still, you know, we still care as much about it and work as hard as we ever have in the studio. You know, this is what we do. This is all we do is make music for ourselves and for Dropkick Murphys fans, and so, you know, we take a lot of pride in that. So it's difficult, but it's a good kind of difficult.
Yeah, and you know, what I felt through the record is you guys were having fun. I mean, you know, there's no show. You guys are not, because you're touring like non-stop and then record an album, so you get exhausted. But now you had time to have a step forward, and, you know, getting together is something that you don't take for granted anymore, because, you know, with what happened, it's surreal, everything we went through. So to be together is just, there's no pressure, there's nothing, just fun. And I think that's the beauty of that record, is that you got a little bit more time, since even if it was fast doing it, but you guys were like, it's your first record. Like we were doing the first records, we played together. It seems exciting.
Absolutely. I mean, when we were able to get back to work on the thing, we were just so over the moon about it that we couldn't help but approach the studio with a new sort of rejuvenated look on everything. You know what I mean? There wasn't, and we're making music, so it's not like you're ever really bummed out being in the studio. But I mean, if it ever got to the point where it seemed like it was work, that was long gone after being forced to stay at home and not do anything for a long time, So when we got to go back into the studio and work, and I think everybody was just so excited to be working on it that hopefully that came across in the songs, yeah.
It's really rad. You guys have been doing 3 streaming show, which every 3 was a major hit. It's crazy the amount of people who were watching, and how, I was there with the family, and the third time it was like, it was not a show, but it was something meaningful for everybody. How was it? Because it's so different, the Dropkick Murphys are based on the energy of the crowd, and they give a lot, and you give them a lot, and it's feeding each other, but you don't have this time. So how was it the first time, and then the evolution?
That's a good question. So the first time it was like, so we were fresh off a tour. We were preparing to play all of our St. Patrick's shows, and when we don't cancel anything for nothing, so when those St. Patrick's shows got canceled in the beginning of COVID, that's when I was like, oh, boy, we really got something going on here. So when we did that first one, it was sort of thrown together, not thrown together. It was great, but it was just sort of like we filmed ourselves playing a live show, and so that was nice to be able to do something like that. And then Fenway was a whole other thing. The fact that there weren't any people there was sort of eclipsed by the fact that we're playing on the fields at Fenway Park. So that was like a whole other form of adrenaline, I suppose, just to be part of something like that. And that was very little as far as production stuff. And when I say production stuff, I mean your average sort of concert production stuff. Obviously, there's a lot of cameras and guys that had to do a lot of hard work. So then this last one that we did was like a full-scale concert production. We were surrounded by a video wall, craziness, and that was when I walked in there on the first day. I'm in a unique position where I can just sort of worry about playing the guitar. You know what I mean? And so luckily I can be one of those guys who I walked into the place the stage where we were doing this recent St. Patrick's stream. I walked in there on the first day and I said, holy cow, I cannot believe what this looks like. It was so crazy. I couldn't believe just sort of how awesome the whole thing was. And so we started playing, and I mean it was great. Like the no crowd thing is a bummer, obviously. Like you get a lot of energy from the fact that there's a crowd there in front of you. That being said, at this point, after 10 months between Fenway and this last St. Patrick's stream, we were so over the moon to be doing anything, that it was like, all right, so we're going to see these puppets are going to be around, but that's about it. All right, that's cool.
And it must be weird because, people are not there, but you feel them somehow, because, there's a lot of people watching in their home, and it's just,
Sure.
You're kind of feed of that, emotion of, I'm not playing in front of just, a couple of guys. I'm playing, the world. So it unites everybody. So it's a beautiful thing what you did, and many bands didn't. It's so different experience, but it's an experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean that brings its own challenges. It's one thing when you're playing in front of a live audience. If you hit like a real duck of a note, a real clam, as we call it, the thing is gone in 0.2 seconds and nobody notices. And it's pretty much the same way in a live stream too. But when you're standing there in front of nobody except for camera, and people are watching at home, and you're filming a live stream, and you hit a clam on your guitar, that thing lasts for an eternity in your mind. So it's a whole other different type of anxiety.
It's true. It's so true.
It's still incredibly fun nonetheless. And then, of course, you watch the thing back the next day, once it was all over, and I, slept for 10 hours that night, and then the next day woke up and went to YouTube and watched it. And anytime I was aware of a spot where I knew that I messed up, it was like, you can't even tell. It's like, relax.
Yeah, that's the thing. As a musician, but people don't really realize that, because normal people, mostly they don't get everything. They don't watch every detail.
Sure. And it doesn't. That's one of those things where it doesn't matter if the vibe is right and the feeling is there. It doesn't matter what note you hit.
It's true. Do you think, it's a good idea for a festival and big venues to keep the streaming, like for people that cannot make it to the festival, if you play in Germany, for example, so people everywhere in the US or Canada can watch the stream, and maybe it can bring a little bit more money for the band and the festival and venues?
Yeah, it seems like there might be a couple, I think like Coachella you could stream at one point. Yeah, there's it seems like festivals do that every once in a while. That's a good idea. I mean, they should just sell tickets to whoever, and they could do like a virtual sort of festival. But we'll play in front of whoever. People sitting at home, people sitting in front of us, standing in front of us, whatever they want to do.
Hell yeah, that's the spirit. Tim, you joined the Dropkick Murphys somewhere in 2003 or 4, if I'm right.
2003, yeah.
One thing that really impressed me about you guys is that, Celtic punk at that time was not the big thing. The Dropkick were getting bigger, but, you were one of the few out there that, mixing punk and Celtic. Right now it's still a small scene if you look at it, but, the ride is really impressive. Do you remember the first gig actually you did?
Sure, yeah. I mean, so when I first joined, I was selling T-shirts, and then I would run up to the stage and play accordion for 2 songs, maybe 3. And so, I mean, I remember both my first show as an actual member, but especially my first show as like the merch guy playing accordion on a couple songs. It was insane. I mean, like I was a fan of the band before I joined, and it just so happened that one of my buddies from when I was a kid playing music was Mark Orell, who had joined the band as like a 17-year-old playing guitar. And so he's the one that got me in. Used to play music together, and he knew that I could kind of play a bunch of different Irish instruments, and so initially I was brought in as, like I said, like a merch helper, and then I would play accordion on a couple songs, and then that sort of progressed to be the sort of utility guy as far as the Irish instrumentation and acoustic guitar and whatever. And then eventually when Mark left the band, I moved up to guitar. of learned all of the songs that could possibly be learned sort of by osmosis, just hearing them night after night. And so it was a fairly easy transition. But, yeah, I mean, it's, the first show that I played was in California, and it was, I couldn't even tell you, it was absolutely insanity.
That's amazing. It's such a beautiful story, and I think that when you have passions and you dream about something, it's not bad to ask life. I wish I would be in the Dropkick Murphys, and those things can happen. And I'm sure you're an inspiration. Sorry, for many people. You would just want to live their dream.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, well, it was definitely all I ever wanted to do was play music. It was the fact that it worked out for me, I realized how rare of a thing that is, and so I'm over the moon to get to do it every day.
You guys have a huge love affair with Quebec. Since the beginning of the Dropkick Murphys, you never forget about us. And it's the same here. We love the Dropkicks. And every tour you're in Quebec. Do you have memories or what you love about Quebec?
I remember, we used to play. What was the name of the place in Montreal that we would play all the time? On that side street there. Oh, I can't remember the name of it.
The Metropolis?
What's that?
The Metropolis?
Yes, that was it, yes.
Yes.
We had some amazing shows there. I remember having some pretty hilarious days off in Quebec City on the Warped Tour with our buddy Sully, who is now Billie Eilish's security guy, so you see him popping up on TMZ and stuff all the time. It's pretty hilarious. We've always loved Canada in general, but we love being up your way.
And it's the same, so can't wait to see you in person. Imagine when, everything's gonna be, when touring's gonna be back, how crazy people will be.
We can only hope. I mean, and that's one thing that I've said to, Ken, for example, throughout this whole thing. When we'd be in the studio and, we would, instead of 30 guys in there singing backup vocals, it was 4 guys each in their separate rooms just singing it 1,000 times. And I would say to Ken, just imagine what it's going to be like when we can get back out there. And everything is safe and everything's cool and we can just sort of go and play shows like we do. Imagine that first show back. It's going to be, nobody's feet are going to be touching the ground. We're going to be over the moon to be doing it.
Yeah, we were taking so much stuff for granted, and it's not anymore. And I really hope that people will complain less about the performance of the band or little details of the show, and just enjoy being together.
Right. Yes. Exactly. I hope for the same. You couldn't have said it better.
So, Turn Up the Dial will be released on April 29th. We invite people to buy it physically. If you have a music budget, there's no show that's the best way to directly encourage the Dropkick Murphys, because we want to see them on tour everywhere in the goddamn world.
That's right.
And Tim, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. It was a blast.
Thank you, Eric. We really appreciate everybody's support. We cannot wait to get back out there.
We will sing along. Actually, I did the trip. It was in 2016 to see you on St. Patrick's Day in Boston, because I saw you many times in Quebec, Montreal. So it was, still that day, it was the best moment of my life. The crowd and everything, people in Boston and the spirit, it was, whoa.
Well, that's very sweet of you to make that kind of trip to see that.
We will again. And Tim, congratulations. You know, you deserve your place in the Dropkick. You work your ass. You're such a rad human being. And congratulations with the new records. And just before we leave, can you do us a really easy, simple ID just saying, hi, this is Tim from the Dropkick, and you listen to Prescription Punk Rock?
You got it. No problem.
Whenever you want, it's rolling.
Sorry. Hey, this is Tim from the Dropkick Murphys, and you're listening to Prescription Punk.
Hell yeah! Tim, thank you. Have a blast. We will wait for you in Quebec City. And again, congratulations with that kick-ass records. It's my favorite since the meanest of time. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, man. And we'll see you when we get up there.
Thank you, Tim. Let's shake hands and drink a beer.
All right.
Cheers.
Take care.
Bye-bye.